Yeah, we're still here at Henry Wellcome Building for the Being Heard conference, and I'm joined by Nimisha Patel. Good afternoon, Nimisha.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, Nimisha, you're a clinical psychologist, and you've just given a wonderful presentation at this conference. And there are issues that really touched me when you were addressing about the importance of justice for refugees and asylum seekers. You also mentioned about being heard, being believed, and being safe. Can you briefly just, elucidate on that?
Yeah, I think often when we talk about justice, we think about it in terms of only legal structures for justice. And I think that one of the things that I think is really underrated or not thought about enough or even researched enough is actually how important the actual process of even being able to access justice in terms of seeking justice and being able to go through a process where you can actually seek and get redress of any kind with respect to your experiences, how important that is in terms of your well-being and recovery from whatever you've experienced. So it's not just about whether you get justice or not, it's actually different ways in which people experience justice. I don't know if I can say a bit more about that. I think particularly because I think it's about giving people the right to seek justice for what they've experienced is actually a recognition, it's a public and international recognition that a wrong has been committed and that there needs to be some, if you like, public and state response to that. So it's a bit like taking something that's a very private experience that's made secretive and, like torture. It's secretive and it's sort of designed to kind of oppress and terrorize people and populations, to actually making it public and saying, hey, this isn't about me, this isn't a random act of violence, this is deliberate, it's state sanctioned and it's wrong and you have to answer for that. So in that sense, I think a lot of people talk about justice as in many different ways. In that actually one is about, as I said earlier, about being heard and feeling that being heard and being believed is also about being validated, people believing that what happened to them can happen and that it is wrong. And I think secondly, it's also about feeling that you are as human as any other person and therefore deserving of the same treatment as anybody else. If we think that any treatment of asylum seekers or persecution or torture that they've experienced is something that's unthinkable for ourselves, then why would we not say that it's unthinkable for them? And so I think part of the process of seeking justice and getting public acknowledgement is also about saying, actually, we are part of the same human race or family. You are like me, we have flesh and blood like each other, we have feelings like each other. Does that make sense?
It does. As a clinical psychologist yourself, we have situations. I, for one, I've been through the process of not being believed, not being heard. What would be your take on that? How can someone redress such a situation when he finds himself or herself in a situation whereby you're not believed? How can you describe that from a perspective of a clinical psychologist?
So I think that's a really interesting question, because I think the way you've just said it implies that actually the responsibility is on the person who's not being believed to redress the situation. It's not the responsibility of the survivor or the victim in law or whatever to redress the situation. The responsibility is on us, it's on the state, and it's on the public and on health professionals and everybody that comes into contact to say, this is a human being, what is your story? And listen with an open heart and an open mind, and listen knowing that even if what you're telling me may be so out of my experience, sounds so extreme and so unbelievable, that maybe you're telling me because it happened to you, not because you're trying to trick me or something. Do you know what I mean? So I think the responsibility is on the listener and the state, not on the people who feel not believed and not heard. It's not your fault or your problem, it's our problem. It
must be. It is difficult, talking from experience, in that there are some consequences that you suffer, mental health problems that you go through if you find yourself in such a situation of not being believed. And so, like you're saying, it's not the victim's responsibility.
No.
Yeah. But back to the presentation, it enlightened a lot on some of the issues that are affecting us in our communities now. Anyway, thank you so much, Nimisha.
Thank you.
It's been wonderful having you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.